Hello and welcome to another episode of Life in Rural Japan. Today I'd like to have a bit of a talk about coming to Japan for a holiday. So if you've ever been thinking about coming to Japan, dust off your passport, buy yourself an airline ticket and jump on a plane. It is the perfect time to come. Yen being weak, you're going to get good value for your money. You know, if you're coming from America, you got about 150, 160 yen to a dollar, great value. If you come from Australia, it's about $1 to 100 yen. So you can get a lot for your money. And things here are cheap. You know, like you can go out and have a meal for, you know, a couple of thousand yen. So it's not costing you a lot of money. And everything's cheap. Everything is cheap. You know, so if you are thinking of coming, great time to come. There's no excuses. So, you know, if you decide to come to Japan, I would learn a couple of phrases in Japanese which would help you, like simasen, like excuse me, or, you know, ohayo gozaimasu, good morning, or, you know, arigato, thank you. And you can get by with just a little bit, no problem at all. And yeah, use Google Translator. You know, when you come, pick yourself up either a SIM card for your phone or pocket Wi-Fi. It's like a little box that connects you to the internet. You just wireless connect to it, Bluetooth connect to it, and you got internet everywhere, which would be really handy. You know, then you can use Google Translate. You know, if you want to know where the station is, you know, you ask someone, oh, excuse me, you know, sumimasen, and then, you know, you tell, you know, where's the nearest station, and then it will translate it into Japanese, and you can show them. And you can even have it put on microphone, and they can speak into it, and then it's going to translate in English for you. So that's really easy. You can use the camera function on it, so if there's Japanese written, you can use it and get an idea. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. It'll get you by. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. As long as you can get the idea what's going on, that's the main thing. But you know, if you did decide to come, I'd keep away from the tourist traps myself. Like Tokyo, really busy, going to be full of tourists, you know, and you know, I don't know if you really, you know, yeah, to me that doesn't interest me, you know. Or in Kyoto and Nara, same. They're just going to be packed with tourists, you know. Even Japanese love going to those places, Kyoto and Nara, you know, they're just packed. In spring and autumn, when the leaves are changing, those places are just packed with tourists, you know, Japanese and foreigners, you know. So, yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about them. You know, there are a lot of nice places you could go to and have a look. You know, for example, Kobe is really nice. It's sort of very close to Osaka, so you can have a look at Osaka. In Osaka, they've got a beautiful big aquarium with whale sharks in it. You know, it's great. It's a really great place. In Osaka, if you want, they got Universal Studios Japan. If you like that sort of thing, I don't. There's too many people and I can't be bothered with it. And I reckon they're pretty expensive to get into. Like, to get in there in Disneyland, it's going to cost you $100 sort of thing, entrance fee, you know. And they're just packed. You have to wait a long time for rides. To me, they're just not worth it. But if you are interested in those places, they're great to have a look at. Kobe is really nice. They had a big earthquake there, I don't know, 30 odd years ago, and they rebuilt the place. But it's really nice. You get around the port there, it's really nice, good place. Hiroshima, I like Hiroshima. It was a great place to visit. And they have like the atomic bomb building, they call it Genbaku-dome in Japanese, and it's worth having a look. And they got the Peace Park there with the museum. The museum's worth going in and having a look. I went in there and it was really interesting, but I couldn't stay in there that long. It's got a real, to me it had a real bad vibe to it. It's just very like bad spirits in there. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I just didn't feel comfortable in there. You know, the wife, she stayed in there quite a long time and had a look around, but the daughter and I, we sort of didn't stay in there that long. It just didn't feel real pleasant. But it was good to have a look, and they have got a lot of photos and a lot of things they found after it, like kids' toys, and like a lunchbox there they found was all sort of melted and that. So it is worth having a look. You know, you can go down a little bit further to Yamaguchi and have a look there. It's really interesting. There's a big shrine down there out on the island you can go out to. You get the boat over. So there's a lot of great places. You know, if you go up into the mountains, you know, like if you come to Japan, instead of going to Tokyo, go to Nagoya. You're going to pick hotels up in Nagoya reasonably cheap. And there's plenty of things to look at in Nagoya. They got Nagoya Castle, which is really good. They got the port with an aquarium and different things. They have Legoland and all sorts of things. They got a good subway service, so you can get around pretty easy. And then from there, it's quite easy to, you know, you could even rent a car if you get an international license. Rent a car, head up to Gifu or Nagano. You know, like in summer, those places are a lot cooler. You know, if you do come in summer here, it's pretty hot. You know, around Nagoya area and that. You in summer, August and that, you're running 30 to 34 degrees every day, and it's pretty high humidity. You know, I don't mind it. I quite like it. It doesn't worry me. A bit of humidity, you know, it's warm. I hate winter, but you know, it's pretty good. And in summer they have a lot of firework festivals, which are great. They put on really good fireworks shows. Some of them last for an hour and 90 minutes and that sort of thing. So a lot of fireworks goes off. At the festivals, they always have food, so you can get different types of food and that, which is really good. But there is always a lot of people, so if you're not real big on crowds, yeah, they get crowded. You know, if you come in autumn, the changing leaves are really good. Like Kyoto and Nara, they get packed. But you know, if you head up into the mountains a bit, you're going to get really nice scenery and that. Also, I think if you stay off the beaten track a bit, you can get a lot better value for your money. You know, if you head up into like Nagano and Gifu and that, you're going to get hotels cheaper. Me, I personally prefer to stay at the ryokans, which is the Japanese style hotels. You know, they're really nice, they're really friendly, the rooms are much bigger than a normal hotel. Normal hotels, you're flat out swinging a cat in there, I tell you. You know, they've got a couple of beds and there's a little bit of room to walk around them, and that's it. Where ryokans, they don't have the beds to say, and you've got quite a big room, and then later on in the evening they'll come in and put out the futons, which is the Japanese sort of mattress sort of thing, and blankets and pillows and all for you, and they're really good. You know, I've slept on futons for ever since I've been in Japan, so I'm used to them. I don't like sleeping in beds, they're too soft, you know, they're not really that comfortable for me. So I much prefer futons. I much prefer ryokans. They're very friendly, people are very friendly in them, and you know, it's a good experience for you to experience a bit of the Japanese lifestyle and culture, I think, rather than just staying in a hotel in a big city. And you know, like if you want to know anything, just use your Google Translator and you'll be fine. But yeah, it's a good time to come. It is good time to come. I wouldn't worry about the language putting you off too much. You know, you get by. I think the main thing is be polite to people. You know, don't be obnoxious, you know, be friendly and, you know, be courteous to people. Like on the trains. On the train stations, there's a yellow line. And when a train's coming, you've got to be the station side of the yellow line. Don't be on the other side of the yellow line. Station staff will get upset with you and they'll tell you to get back. You know, they don't like it. Japan is very, very safety conscious, you know. People here, they can't pick up a cardboard box unless they put on gloves, you know. They walk around with crash helmets on if they're doing any little bit of work and that sort of thing. So it's a very very safety conscious train, so there are things you have to do. On the trains, don't go talking on your phone. That's a no-no. You know, people use phones, they listen to music, but they always have headphones in. Play games and that sort of thing. You know, if you're on the train with your friend, just talk quietly with each other. Don't sort of really loud, and that people don't do it. They sort of very quiet how they talk with each other and that on trains and that. They respect each other's privacy, sort of thing. But I think that is a big thing. Just respect people. You know, here they sort of do respect other people, and they don't make nuisances of themselves. You know, so. You know, like, it's not a good idea to walk around the street drinking beer and that sort of thing. They sort of frown on that. You know, eating on the street, they don't really sort of go for it. In Japan, there's not a lot of garbage bins on the street. Like in Australia, like I was on the Gold Coast, every 10 steps there's a garbage bin. Here, there's not. So, you know, if you got rubbish, just put it in your backpack, take it back to the hotel and dispose of it at the hotel. You know, put it in the bin at the hotel. Don't just throw stuff on the street. The streets are pretty clean. You know, there's not a lot of rubbish on the streets. People are quite, you know, careful about litter and that sort of thing. So that's a thing. Don't just go chucking stuff on the street. You know, if you have something and you just don't roll up the wrapper and chuck it on the street, it's not really appropriate. It's a bit frowned upon. So that I think that is the main thing. You just got to be a bit courteous, and that if you are, you can have a great time here. Like, it's very cheap, good time of the year. You know, spring's good. You got all the cherry blossoms and that sort of thing. Spring, you have a lot of festivals too, so there's always festivals going on. But yeah, winter's really cold, and that. Me, I'm not a big fan of winter, but if you are, there's a lot of skiing. You can go up to Hokkaido. A lot of Australians go up to Hokkaido skiing in winter, but you know, you got Nagano and Gifu and that, a lot of skiing up there. They had their Winter Olympics at Nagano, so they have got the big ski jump and different things, so there's plenty of skiing and that. If you like skiing and snowboarding, there's plenty of that in winter. But on the whole, you know, it's a great place to come and visit. You know, if you're into anime and that sort of thing, you know, big cities, they've got a lot of that sort of thing. If you go down, if you come to Nagoya, on the side of the station, there's like a big section where they've got so many places selling all that, you know, all your manga and all figures and magazines and comics and all that sort of stuff. It's just huge. So that is very popular. You know, if you're interested in that, you're going to find stuff here that you're not going to find anywhere else. And it's, you know, probably reasonably cheap, but some of that stuff is expensive, so it just depends on what you're after. But yeah, it's pretty decent place. I think the main thing is just sort of follow the rules. If you're not sure of something, ask. Just use your Google Translator and get the idea. But you know, some people do speak some English. You know, it's not perfect, but just sort of, you know, try to get along with people, and I think you'll have a great time. Some of the food here is great. You know, like you go out and get a really good tempura, which is fried vegetables and fish and chicken and different things. It's fantastic. A really good tempura is fantastic. You know, sushi, countries made on sushi. You know, sushi's great. You know, get nice fresh sushi. You know, you got, if you want to have Wagyu beef, you know, there's plenty of those places, but you are going to be paying for it. Long time ago, I got a steak. It was, I forget how big it was, but it was like 5,000 yen. It was about $50, which is pretty expensive back then, and it was about 3 mouthfuls, so it is expensive. If you buy the good steak, it is expensive. It was damn good, but it wasn't much of it. But yeah, I think that's the main thing. Just come and enjoy yourself, but now's a great time to come. So airfares are probably, I don't know how you go with them, they're probably a bit expensive, but you know, they can you offset your trip with it being cheap over here. Anyway, that's all for today. I just thought we'd have a bit of a talk about, you know, coming to Japan. So it's a great time to come, so book your holiday, and I hope to see you here.